Hello, hello. Welcome to a brand new episode of Brain Pickings XL, the special edition of our popular podcast for HR professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders. My name is Leslie, and I'm the founder of ZigZagHR, which is the community for HR professionals. And every month we dive into a specific topic. And this month it's all about HR tech and digitalization. And every day during a whole month, I will take a deep dive into the brains of HR experts, thought leaders, and challengers, picking ideas, insights, best and next practices to inspire you and to support you in staying ahead of the curve. This podcast is brought to you in collaboration with SAP, originally known for leadership in enterprise resource planning software. SAP has evolved to become a market leader in end-to-end enterprise application software, database, analytics, intelligence technologies, and experience management. And the topic we will tackle today in this podcast is employee experience, how to win the war for talent by giving your workforce the workspace they need, the tools they need, and the culture they can celebrate. Instead of thinking of a traditional employee life cycle, future-proof organizations understand that it's more valuable and that it's more effective to think of moments that matter and moments of impact. And my guest today is Koen Mathys, Manager Training and Development at TVH. Hello, Koen.
Hello, Leslie.
Everything okay with you?
Yes, very well. Thanks.
Happy to be here?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So
it feels a bit like home because I used to live here for many years, very close by.
You used to live here? Okay.
Yes.
So in the center, in the heart of Brussels.
Yes, here at Molenbeek.
Okay.
Lived here for 7 years.
Wow, 7 years. And now you moved to
Ghent.
To Ghent,
Yes.
which is, of course, also a very nice place to
Absolutely.
live. All right.
But still, good memories.
Brings back memories.
Good memories.
Okay. So, Koen, you're Manager Training and Development at TVH Group. What does a day in your average work week look like? And what's your main HR challenge today?
So, primarily responsible for all learning activities for TVH. So that's a global activity within our HR team. And me and the team of around 8 people are responsible for all non-technical, non-product related trainings.
Okay. Globally.
Globally. So it's what we call soft skills, typically personal development, leadership development, team, organizational development, change, all these aspects we cover for all 5,000 employees globally.
Yeah, so you used to travel a lot before all this shizzle happened.
Yes, and I quite miss it a lot as
I
well.
can imagine. Okay.
And what the day looks like, since the last year, it's like most employees. I am home for many hours behind my computer. I talk in calls. Yeah. That will hopefully change soon very much.
Yeah, let's make sure that we stay on the positive perspective on things. Yeah. And what's your main HR challenge today?
So one part of the role is really about operational trainings, learning activities in all formats. Another part of the role currently is my role is broader than just learning. It's also on talent management, meaning that I take the lead for TVH when we talk about engagement, talent review processes, but also, of course, employer experience is part of that. I think my main challenge, or with the HR teams overall, is that only very recently these roles are global.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And although we're a multinational company represented in so many countries, until 2-3 years ago, everything was decentral.
Okay.
All countries did their own thing on HR, but on most activities. And it's only since the last 2-3 years that there's really a common strategy, meaning also global organizations, global processes. So that's quite new.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge because we're not used working in global processes. And to find an organization, but also a way of working, that is something that we're still discovering between what is global, how do we collaborate with the regions. So this is something that we're very much focusing on today, but in the next years to come.
And then just started that COVID-19 came and kind of made it a little bit more challenging.
And in that way, not be able to travel
is quite a difficulty.
Pity. And we all miss it. But from all regions, it would be helpful to see each other more often.
Okay. Now, in the last 200 years, employers have shifted their focus a few times with regards to the employees. The first industrial revolution, it was all about utility. What do people need to get the job done? Then you had the second industrial revolution, focus shifted towards productivity. What do people need to get the job done as efficiently as possible? Then we had the third industrial revolution. Everything was about engagement then. How can people become more engaged at work so that productivity will increase? And today it's all about experiences. And the fourth industrial revolution, everybody craves experiences. How do we create the ultimate experience for our workforce so they want to show up and really make a contribution? If I ask you, what exactly is employee experience for you? How would you define it? And why is it important at your company?
I tried to make up my own definition this morning, thinking about it. It's a good question. And for me, I wrote it, employee experience, for me, it's the values coming alive.
Okay, yeah.
That's how I would see the definition within TVH, and because actually we don't use the word employer experience. It's not something that is actively talked about.
You just live it.
Although we act on it every day, and we do so much different things, but we don't use the hype or buzzword a bit, which is everywhere. It's not something that we use, even not in our HR communities. We don't talk about that name. But of course, it's key and it's vital, also for TVH. And it's starting from the values, because that is something that we do talk very often, every day. And especially now, because very recently we had a kind of update done of our core values. So
and was that due to COVID-19 that you had an update, or just as...
No, it was
was time
planned,
to...
project was there. So in that way, it had nothing to do with COVID. But for me, the employer experience is about, the values are really core. It's part of the DNA. It's still a very family-owned business today. So they're very present still. And these family values are very strongly present in the organization. And that, for me, is the experience for the employee. And that makes TVH quite unique. And in that way, the experience should be that the values that many companies put on a board or hang on the wall, that employees have to feel it. In the way how we treat them, how we talk with them, how we communicate with them, what we do. So it's about, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And there it comes alive, I think.
Well, that's a nice
so
way
in that way, we don't talk about employer experience programs or manager. We don't have a function around that. But we start from our values, which we want to bring alive authentically every day. And there is the key message.
All right. Now, although you don't call it that way, there are three actually components when you want people to act on it or live on it or be treated as such. You have the physical environment, the technical environment, and the cultural environment. Actually, the three components. Physical is actually the workplace where people are working. It can be headquarters in different regions, can be the hubs, home office for the moment. Then you have the technical environment, which is everything that has to do with the apps, the hardware, the software, the user interface design. How easy is it to use? How frictionless is it to use? All HR systems. And then you have the cultural environment, which I can think is very important then to you. It's not tangible, but by far the most important. That's actually what you say. You feel it. You can't. It's not tangible, but you can feel it. Now, according to Jacob Morgan, who is really the buzzman of the buzzword, then employee experience, he says, well, organizations, they fall along 9 levels of maturity. and according to the way you are experienced in one or more components, you will act on one or more components more. Now, if you hear me say physical, technical, and cultural component, which of those three is the most important for you? And do you have the feeling that expectations of your workforce made you step up the gear in one or more components?
Yeah. Lots of questions.
Yeah, we can start with the first one. Which is the most important for you? Is it the culture? Is it the environment?
I wouldn't say. I think all three are important.
Yeah.
Historically, I think our strongest component today is the culture,
which is the most important.
Which you say is most important, and I've kind of followed that. So I think that's a current strength. Absolutely. Again, that makes TVH quite unique as a place to work. I can compare. I've worked in many different companies, so you can feel it the day you enter the company. In a way, facilities are also important, and that's something that we have very much on our radar, and company is very heavily investing into that. So we recognize certainly the importance of a working environment, and the technological components. I think today is a bit the weakness.
Yeah,
I think like what have we been a bit underinvesting in? That's certainly that part.
Yeah,
and that was certainly also due to the kind of decentralized way we were organized before. Meaning that we are very much aware of that, and that within the strategy of the next years to come, this is something
you will focus.
We will focus, and there will be heavily invested into that.
Because when you say facilities, I remember that I had an interview with one of your colleagues, and I'm afraid I just forgot her name. But then we talked about the importance of well-being, and you had just recently then, I don't know, was it a garden or a park for people where they can meet each other and do sports? I think that's also something that you really invest in.
You had a talk with Nikki.
Yes.
Who is our happiness, employee happiness advisor. A good example of how that's part of our values. And I think when you look at the current values portfolio, there are two really focusing on people. And that's really in a definition, it's about caring for people, investing in well-being, joy, celebrating successes, and other, of course, some more hard, like entrepreneurship and results and all these things. But even the investment in the facilities is one that is very closely linked to investing in well-being of people. And I think if people know the company and drive by at Wareham, you will see that every year a new building pops up.
Wow!
so we're almost a building company, and management, but also the family is very much aware that they want to create an environment very attractive for their people, and
for really people to come to work.
For people to come to work, and they also find it important that people to come to work.
Okay. Meaning, so this is a huge stressor for you that everybody is at home.
That way, COVID was an enormous transition because till beginning of last year, nobody worked at home.
No, wow.
So we were very conservative at that aspect. So COVID was a revolution, and with many challenges. But still, after COVID, the company will not decide that you can permanently work from home.
No,
that will be
come back to the office as soon as possible, please.
That will be a maximum 2 days a week. So that has been decided. But we find it very important that people still come back to the office, connect to each other, connect to the company, connect to the culture, which the atmosphere is an important one. And therefore, many investments, and that's. You see it today, just about to open a total new headquarter spaces, but also all the offices are in a renovation phase. And that's a project over many years, where we step away from the more traditional landscape type of offices, and we embrace really a more modern office space, which reflects more to work in team with agile teams, small corners, more a community place, a meeting place. We're building a new restaurant with coffee bars, and the more hipster type
very appealing.
type of office, which we might not connect with a more industrial type of company. Yeah?
Okay.
So that's one part. The office space is very important, and another component is indeed it's about more sustainability topics, and sustainability is a key topic in the current strategy.
Okay.
That reflects in how we build.
Yeah,
planet
for sure
is very important when we look on energy, solar power, materials. Sustainability is always key in the way how we rebuild or new buildings. But also, like in the example that you mentioned, last year we opened a park at TVH, recreation room, very nice, where people can go to breaks, have lunch. Do sports, all kinds of activities. So another good example of facilities, I think, which connects nicely to the values.
Yeah, all right. I would like to discuss the business value of employee experience. Why bother investing in it? Although, again, you don't call it that way, but you apparently really invest in it. Does it make your workforce more productive, more engaged? Does it improve innovation? Does it have impact on employee turnover? And more importantly, do you measure that? Can you measure that? And how do you measure that?
Yeah, that was a bit of a difficult question for me to reflect on. Do we have some measure on that? Yes. Internally, we certainly see some results, but since I said we don't have a specific employer experience program, it's not a focus area where we drive KPIs or measures at this stage. And in that way, I think how I brought this is that we do it, we live it. We don't call it a specific project or team. So in that way, I think as of the start of the company, it's part of the DNA, how the family brought in these values with a very strong belief that if we don't have attention to this component, to these people being, that you cannot be successful.
Okay.
And looking at the track of the recent years, I think TVH is growing very rapidly in numbers of staff, but also financially. It's a natural growth of about 10% a year. So that means we're doing some things right. I think that is a kind of proof for sure. We saw, so you can link it certainly to measures like retention. Is under control. We're still able to hire talent that we want.
You're very attractive as an employer.
Although we're in a huge competitive market, also in the region where we are, it's not that easy to attract talent. But we are convinced, and we also get that feedback from people that come to TVH, that in many cases it's about that culture, that people have references, or they talk about, or they read about it, and in that way, it's a differentiator for sure, in a positive way.
Okay, as you mentioned it, when you started working there, you immediately said that you felt the difference.
You feel it, and it's not so known also externally, but it's a key differentiator. So certainly we have some internal proof, and keep on investing that. And I think management is just reinforcing that. Also now with setting the new update of the values, it's even stronger in there. And so it's really anchored, and we keep on investing into it. But I think we also get some external feedback on some aspects. Like I think last year we were in top 20 of attractive employers by Randstad study. It was the first time. But especially with mentioning on the people component, on culture, on well-being.
Which is a great recognition if you put so much focus on it.
And that means that we get an external recognition also by so many people that we're doing something unique there. And how we work on the well-being. We have lots of nudge programs, celebrations, all these things differentiate.
All right, and the next Randstad report is coming up, so I'm curious to see where you will be this time.
We want to be in the top 10.
Okay,
at least.
Now, what is the role of HR in all this? Because you say it's not something that we have a program on, and we don't call it employee experience. It's about the values. But what is the role of HR then to help it stay alive or become bigger or?
Yeah. I think first of all, I think it's the business owning these topics. I think that is very clear. If we look at the strategic plan for the years to come, sustainability is there as a building block. So that's not something HR is inventing. If we talk about the people component, it's about developing talent. It's about engagement. It's about improving the experience. It's about working and reinforcing on our values. So that is in there, but that's just part of the strategic plan made by the global management team and by the board. So in that way, also approved and owned by the family still. And I think the role from HR is see it more as a facilitator and a process owner. In the way that we will help with some global processes like nudge programs or work around our values, how to organize that, or engagement and pulse surveys, all these things. We own and lead the process, but not the topic. So in that way, it's more like a facilitating role. Making sure things are happening, stimulating that, putting on the agendas at the right meetings, at the right levels of the organization. But it's clearly the business and global management team that are owning these topics.
Okay.
And that is quite clear in the organization.
All right. Do you have, I'm sure you have, do you have a best practice to share? I heard you talking about the nudge programs. I heard you talking about lots of things that really differentiate you from other employers. What is a best practice that you would like to share with the HR community?
When I think about what is so important for us in the experience, it's living these values. And in that way, nothing unique, but we have a big group of ambassadors. So team members from all teams, all the organizations all around the globe who are We Are One ambassador. So We Are One is the name of the values, where we kind of delegate the initiative to them, and we tell them like, for your team, for your department, you're the ambassador of the values, and you can take initiatives to work on that.
They're free to take initiatives as they please.
They get a budget, and they can take any initiative with their teams on events, team building, if only it has some connection on working with these values. And that I think works very well. It's very motivating for the ambassadors, but also for all the teams, all the employees, because it's an example of where not HR is in the lead, where not management is the lead, not the team leader. It's really delegated to staff members who are motivated, who are linked to that. They just want to take it up as something extra, but they decide on what to do, what does the team like, and they're authorized to take these initiatives. And that is very much embraced, and it's very strong. And we have these all over the globe, making sure that on a yearly basis, teams at least have 3-4 moments that they really do something around these values, just connect as a team, do something fun, celebrate, because that is the main purpose. So in that way, it's an ambassadorship, which is used often, but here I think very successful. Get quite some good feedback from that.
Maybe you've been talking about the values all the time. I didn't even ask you what those values are. I'm very curious. It's about joy, for sure. What are the values? I'm really curious.
Of course, the joy is in there.
I can see it. What other values are very important to you, to your company?
Well, the acronym is PARTS. because we're a parts company.
Yes,
of course. And it's about pursue excellence, which is we really want to strive for the best for our employees, but certainly also for customers in product and in service. It's acting with joy. Yes. We think it's important to have fun at work, but it's mostly about we really want to recognize people, show appreciation, show care for people. So it's more the softer people side, which is very strongly. It's remain open. Third one. It's mostly about very open, transparent communication, diversity, stimulating that in the community, keeping things simple. That's a bit our style, what we like.
Don't use buzzwords.
Yes, we're not a company that is always first one to embrace trends, and we totally don't do that.
Okay.
So although we do lots of things, we don't always call it with the buzzwords.
Okay.
Fourth one is take initiative, which is about the entrepreneurial spirit. It started with just 2 people starting a small business, and we want to keep that spirit there alive. It's always about innovation, new stuff, keep the entrepreneurship going. And last one is show courage.
Okay.
We sometimes want to be bold, try out new things, take courageous discussions.
It's about innovation out
it's
of
also,
the comfort zone?
Yes,
something?
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And that's an important one because the industry is rapidly changing. And we're following that with new products, new services.
Innovation is
new
very
ways,
important.
New ways of working.
Okay, all right.
So, but
So that's
some hard and some
values.
softer.
So everywhere I would come and I would meet someone who works at your company, I will see those values come alive then.
You will see them, but don't ask them yet to ask them exactly what they are, because in this naming, there had just been launched this month. So.
But I think I had some conversations with other HR professionals on the topic of culture. And it's not about being able to say what those values are. It's about bringing them to life, as you say, because one of the conversations I had, I think it's really wonderful. There was, I forgot a name, and a female HR director of also a global company. And I asked her the same thing. I said, are people, everywhere I would go, are they able to sum up what the values are at your company? And she said, no, I don't think so. But if there's a piece of paper lying around on the floor, every employee, no matter what that person is doing within the company, will take up that piece of paper because they're proud of the company. They don't want it to be, and that's culture, she said. And you have other experience. It's about taking away your glasses when they're empty, about emptying the dishwasher. That's culture. I think that's more important, living it, than being able to say, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think, Okay.
And I recognize the example very much.
Yeah, all right.
You won't find a lot of papers on the ground.
Hanging around. Okay.
Sure not.
Maybe to end, what is maybe your major takeaway or your biggest lesson learned or your most valuable failure that you've learned from that you want to share with people?
I think I started with the values and I will end with it. And I think they're important in driving motivation and positive energy. Think if you fail to live them, and especially from a management perspective, you always lose. Okay. And we just talked about these 5 values where care and recognition and well-being is important. If we fail to show that in some real behavior, we know we will lose, both as a company, but also for employees.
Okay.
People step away. So in that way, I think also nothing new, but authenticity is key. And it's about do what you tell.
Okay.
Now we're really communicating and doing some campaigning around these new values. People have to see in reality that it's true. And how we work with them from HR, but from a team leader, manager, senior leadership. If they don't embrace it and show it in real actions, it's worthless.
Yeah, yeah.
So in that way, I think living it and caring about it and showing authenticity, that it's real, that it's important. It's really not a poster on the wall. And that way, and that's the current strength. But of course, we also make mistakes on that. But we do see then that as a company, you lose.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's a nice way to end this podcast. Unless you have some major thing that you want to share with the world, Koen, is there something you're eager to tell, or do you think you kind of summed it up? What's most important?
I think I've said what I wanted to say.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
All right, well, with pleasure. I hope it didn't hurt too much when I was kind of getting inside your head, and I maybe can come back some other time. But I want to thank you very much for your opportunity, for the time, for you to come over here, and to get back to the place where you kind of lived for, was it 7 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Koen. Thank you for listening and for watching. This was yet another episode of our ZigZagHR podcast in collaboration with SAP. If you are interested to learn more about human experience management and employee experience management, be sure to tune in again, because we have some other interesting conversations with HR professionals from Daikin and Proximus. And of course, the most important thing that you must never, ever, ever forget, it's a great time to be in HR. See you next time.